In today's video, I'm going to go over the 2023 Booksta Hype books. So hello my fellow fantasy book lovers and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, hi and welcome. My name is Kathy and I'm a goth girl from Belgium who loves to read fantasy books. In today's video, I'm going to go over a list of books that are the Booksta Hype books, so the most hyped books of 2023. And for each book, I will tell you if I've read them, what my opinion on them is, and if I haven't read them, if I want to read them in the future. So now let's get started with the list. Up first is ACOTAR or Throne of Glass. Now, I actually started reading both ACOTAR and Throne of Glass. I'm currently at the third book that I finished in the ACOTAR series, and I'm at the second to last one in Throne of Glass. Now, I do enjoy these books. I think they are nice and easy reads, but they're not like high-hitting books for me. I feel every single book is kind of a repeat of the previous one, a repeat of the same themes coming back over and over again, which isn't specifically a bad thing, it's just not like my favorite books of all time. Up next we have From Blood and Ash, and the funny thing is, I know that I've read this book, but it's very difficult for me to remember what actually happened in the book, because it was rather slow-paced, specifically the beginning of the book. You have this maiden, you have a situation with vampires, but not a lot is actually happening. So I did read this book, I don't think I gave it a high score, and I will read more from Jennifer L. Armentrout, but not this instant. After that, we have the Zodiac Academy, which is something I haven't read and might read in the future, but isn't high on my priority list. After that, we have The Cruel Prince by Holly Black, and I actually want to read this book, but haven't read it just yet. Then we have Divine Rivals, which I have read and absolutely loved. In Divine Rivals, we follow a boy and a girl who are rivals working at the same newspaper, writing and aiming to be columnists. But there is a war going on and a lot happening in the world around them. So a lot happens, and I don't want to go too much into depth because this was a book that I went in almost completely blind and I absolutely loved it. So if you want to read one of the books from this list, I think Divine Rivals would be my top pick. After that, we have Serpent and the Wings of Night. This is a book that I actually only recently read. I do get why it is on this list, although it isn't something groundbreaking or super new in my personal opinion. I did really like it. It's about a girl who's living with vampires for all of her life. She's being raised by the Vampire King, which is not his actual daughter. She's actually been picked up from a street, and she enters this tournament because at the end of the tournament she will be able to get like powers that make her equal to vampires, more or less. A lot of plot twists happen in this book. Things aren't always what they seem to be. I did really enjoy it. After that, we have Guild, which I haven't read yet. Apparently this is a fantasy romance. Not sure if I will pick it up because I felt it being a little bit YA themed if I looked it up. After that, we have Crescent City. This is another series, I think, by Sarah J. Maas, so not really something that I'm super excited to pick up. After that, we have Once Upon a Broken Heart. I've heard lots of good things about it, but I feel like this might be something I read in February if it's like romance month, but other than that, it's not really a book that I would like gravitate to read. After that, we have Carnival. Again, I've heard lots of good things about this, but apparently it's more YA than adult fantasy. So I have a lot of YA fantasy that is like higher on my TBR list. After that, we have Fourth Wing. I have, of course, read Fourth Wing. If you see it there, that is one of my special editions of Fourth Wing. I really loved Fourth Wing. I'm sure everyone has heard about it by now. We follow the main character, Violet Sorrengail, as she has to become a dragon rider or become part of the dragon squadron of the military school that she's going to, instead of being a scribe like she originally wanted. So we follow her story, and I know this is also not the most groundbreaking new book, but I felt to me it was a nice like getting back into fantasy reading book. After that, we have One Dark Window, which apparently is like a more gothic inspired novel, or like dark academia at least. I have it. It's somewhere on my shelves and I want to read it. I just am not sure when I will actually get to it. After that, we have Powerless, which I also have in a paperback version on my shelves. So someday I will read it, but I also know that it ends on a cliffhanger and that there will be more parts. So maybe for this one, I should just wait until there's more parts out and then read them. But I will definitely read it at some point. Same thing for the next one. It is Shadow and Bone. I have a lot of Leigh Bardugo's books and I want to read them. I just haven't gotten to them yet. So one of the months this year, I will focus on books that are part of duologies, trilogies or more, and I will read those. So I hope this year I will finally get to these books. After that, we have Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. My special editions are somewhere over there. I absolutely love this book. It is one of my favorite books. It was so complex, so deep, so much amazing world building. If you haven't read it and you want to read like a high fantasy, epic fantasy book with dragons, I could highly recommend checking it out. Do know that it is a very long book and that it will take you a little while to get through it. Even for me, it took me a long time to actually read it from start to finish. And I also have the second book, which is A Day of Fallen Night. And I have to admit, I started the book, but I haven't fully finished it yet. So I want to pick that one up again, like start it from scratch and read it again somewhere this year. After that, we have Belladonna, which is also a book that friends of mine have been recommending me, but that I haven't read yet. I don't own a copy of it yet, so this is currently very low on my priority list. After that, we have Ninth House, and I think the second book to it, or this book, actually won the Goodreads Awards this year, so it definitely is a book that I think would be good, but that right now is not super high on my priority list. After that, we have Haunting Adeline, and this book is very deceptive. It's been promoted so much online, but I think the people promoting it haven't actually read it, because I read Haunting and Hunting Adeline, and it is not some cute stalker romance. It is way more fucked up than that. It is really not appropriate for anyone under the age of 18, and even then, this is a very heavy book, and I had a physical copy that I sold because I would never ever want to recommend this book to anyone. That's how I feel about it, and yeah, I don't get that this book is hyped as much. And then the last book on this list is The Hurricane Wars. I actually have this from one of my subscriptions, so I will read it someday. But then again, I also am not sure when I will read it. And that's the thing that I have with a lot of my books, is that I will focus on specific themes or hyper focus on them. Like right now I'm reading a lot of books with vampires in them, and then I will shift to something else. So I have a lot of books that have been recommended to me that are super hyped, but I'm a mood reader and it's not always easy with mood reading to like pick books if you don't really know what they are about, if you don't have in-depth reviews, or if you just like receive them in subscriptions, and it makes it even harder for me because I didn't personally pick the book. So this was the Booksta Edition 2023 list. I have read a few of these books, but definitely not all of them. So I would love to know, out of the books that I haven't read yet, have you read some of them? And if so, which ones would you most recommend me reading, so I can bump those up on my eternal TBR list with over 100 books on them? If you enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a big thumbs up. And of course, if you'd like to be, feel free to subscribe as well, because I make new videos every week and I would love to have you here for every single one of them. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you very soon with a new video. Bye!